Make sure you take your time to watch this video from the beginning to the very end to hear everything. When we come back, we discuss. So enjoy the clip.
It is a rare, pointed insight into one of the starkest secrets in Russia, President Vladimir Putin's security protocols. And it, a detailed intelligence report given to CNN by a source close to a European intelligence agency, portrays, predictably, a Kremlin in deep crisis. Cooks, bodyguards and photographers working with Putin must have surveillance systems installed in their homes, it says. Putin has stopped visiting military sites this year entirely, it says, in contrast to last year, often spending time in fortified bunkers and keeping clear of some of his main lavish residences like Valdai. A tactic aided by many of his appearances, and he is in the media a lot, being pre-recorded. His staff cannot use smartphones or public transport, the report adds. Visitors must be searched twice.
Putin increasingly isolated. These fears grow. I mean, just how paranoid is he right now? What are you learning?
Well, I think you don't really have to look very far. Just look at the plans for the Victory Day parade celebrating the Soviet victory over Nazi Germany in World War II for May 9th on Saturday. It's going to be the first time the Russian Defense Ministry announced in the middle of the night last week, trying to bury the news. In 20 years, they've done it without the usual tanks, armored vehicles, and ballistic missiles. They usually trundle past Putin on Red Square because they're worried about Ukrainian drone strikes. Ukraine has really improved its ability to strike deep in the heart of Russia. They hit a luxury high-rise building just earlier today in Moscow with a drone strike, and that's clearly something that Putin is worried about. He's only really made 2 fully-fledged public appearances all year, and that is something that is an increasing concern in Russia. Just today, Putin replaced the head of the aerospace forces, which, among other things, is in charge of air defense. And the suggestion there, we don't know all the reasons, but they clearly haven't been doing everything they could with air defense in Russia. Ukraine has been very successful in striking Russian energy facilities, both supporting the war and all in Ukraine, and also Russia, fueling Russia's energy exports to fund the war. And that's something that they really have to be worried about.
Yes, and all of this is just incredible. The fact that the cooks and people who work around Putin can't use smartphones. I mean, what kind of devices are they even using? They have to be surveilled in their homes, that he himself is spending time in a bunker?
Yeah, well, the joke about Putin ever since coronavirus, the peak of the pandemic, where he basically went on lockdown with all but his very, very, very closest intimate circle, and that was where he came up with the whole plan for the Ukraine invasion. You may remember these really ludicrous scenes where he was meeting foreign dignitaries at opposite ends of this 30-foot long table. The joke that he was the old man in the bunker, and really that's become true. You talk to people who know him, they say that he spends the vast majority of his time in these secure facilities, micromanaging the war, obsessing over which village Russia may or may not take on the battlefield in Ukraine in the coming weeks. And he's becoming increasingly detached from the normal affairs of state. And you started to see this actually create some political blowback for him, because the economy is not doing very well. Russia has been shutting down mobile internet in Moscow and all across the country. Yeah. And that's made people pretty unhappy. Putin's approval ratings took a hit.
So the fear and security measures reportedly increased after a Russian general was killed by a car bomb in Moscow. You talked about the drone strikes. This was a car bomb. And apparently in a heated meeting at the Kremlin, Putin's top military and security personnel blamed each other. So it sort of devolved into a finger-pointing exercise. So, what is the stability right now of Putin's inner circle?
I think the real lesson from this reporting and this intelligence report is that Putin doesn't really have an inner circle anymore, even of the very tight circle of intimates that he had over the previous 25 years that he's been in power. The civilian officials who were told at all that he was planning the war, most of the oligarchs that he built up, who were among his closest friends, with very few exceptions, they're not really involved in this. They don't see him really very often at all, because he's only really regularly who are in his immediate family, or they're directly involved in planning the war. And when you see these generals who are being blown up, unlike Putin, they don't have anything like the kind of security that Putin has. Many of them were hit with bombs right at their homes, at their front doors, of their buildings, and there wasn't a dedicated security agency that was really working on protecting these people. The defense ministry didn't have one, and so that obviously is going to lead to a lot of squabbling, and that certainly does not make for a cohesive war effort.
Fascinating when Max is saying at this point Putin doesn't even really have an inner circle anymore. Is this all just paranoia, or does Putin have reason, do you think, at this specific moment to be this afraid?
No, he's of course paranoid, but fears are real. Putin knows from Russian history that there's one thing that led to massive changes, sometimes revolutions. It's a bad war. If the war goes well, the Russian public never cared about the price to pay for victory. The cost was irrelevant. But bad wars, unwinnable wars, led to changes. It's the Russo-Japanese War in the beginning of the 20th century led to the constitutional monarchy. The bad war of World War I, so the stalemate, led to the collapse of Romanov dynasty. 1989, the retreat from Afghanistan and basically the failure in a Cold War led to the collapse of the Soviet Union. And while I may disagree about this, it's the inner circle making decisions about war against Ukraine, there was a kind of consensus that Russia would easily win. But this war now looks unwinnable, and we can just hear it by just reading. Just even pro-war bloggers now, they express doubts that Putin can deliver, and that's the greatest threat to Russian dictator. If people believe he's weak, weakness is something that always led to the disaster.
So your piece today was titled "Putin is in Trouble." You were writing about those military bloggers. You're also talking about, what is the impact, and Max referenced this, but to the internet suddenly being shut down, to having this big May 9th thing that is usually, massive troops and tanks and all of these things be this small pared back thing.
Yeah, look, as bad wars led to the trouble, good wars, won wars, always created, the special aura for the regime. That's why Putin and before him Soviet leaders always tried to capitalize on the World War II, the victory. So that's why the May 9th parade. By the way, Russia always celebrated May 9th because Stalin didn't want to do it on May 8th as the rest of the world. Was a kind of sacred date. This is what made us great. And for Putin to recognize that he should actually not just reduce it, no more tanks, that's already a sign of weakness. But the biggest challenge for him now is that in the beginning of this full-scale invasion, in February 2022, Putin skillfully, managed it by avoiding, Moscow and St. Petersburg, other big cities to be involved. No body bags there. So he looked for either prisons or some, depressed regions or some national republics. So big cities, especially Moscow, never felt the heat of the war. The last few months, it's not just they know that they have to pay the price, and also many oligarchs. They have to also suffer financial losses because all these refineries and plants, somebody owns them.
Right, that are getting hit by the drones.
Exactly. So, and Ukrainians are very successful. Almost every day they hit one or two targets.
One person at the beginning of the war who was very close to Putin was Sergei Shoigu, a former defense minister. He had his ups and downs, but he's been a Putin ally. And now the intel report that Nick Payton-Walsh obtained says, and he's still on the Security Council for Putin, says that Shoigu is, quote, associated with the risk of a coup. All right, I'm curious about two things. Do you think that's the case? And I guess there's also this. If this comes out and is now in public, what happens to Sergei Shoigu when Putin sees this report?
Look, I think it's hearsay. It's just the rumors. But remember Prigozhin. Yeah. It's the Prigozhin's rebellion was also about the war in Ukraine. But at that time, majority of Russian elite, including the army, supported Putin because they thought war in Ukraine was too profitable. Right now, it's a big loss. And again, the war is unwinnable. And the public opinion, of course, it's dictatorship, but it's public opinion among Russian elite, both in economic, political, and of course, military, is now openly expressing doubts that Putin can lead the country. Again, Russian history tells us this is the beginning of the end.
At least you had everything from this video. What is your own opinion? Drop it in the comment section. Thank you for watching. For more news and updates like this, do not forget to follow me on this channel by hitting the like button subscribe, and turn on the bell so that anytime I publish the next video, you will get notification. I really appreciate your time for watching. Bye for now.